Stay tuned and let's check out the Stilt Man Build-A-Figure wave into the Spider-Verse Marvel Legends. Pow and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. Today, finally, I have my first Marvel Legends wave of 2021. It is, of course, the Stilt Man Build-A-Figure wave, aka the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse wave, as it features 4 characters from the animated movie. Now, I liked the movie, but I didn't walk away from it thinking I needed these characters represented in plastic on my shelves. However, now I've got these figures, they're looking very impressive and very accurate to the movie. I rewatched the film just yesterday as preparation for this review, and I must admit they look very accurate. So I thought it makes a lot of sense, since a lot of people have had these for a while now, to just review all of the Into the Spider-Verse figures in one video. So I'll do separate videos for Frogman, Hand Ninjas and the Stiltman Build-A-Figure, but today I'm reviewing all 4 figures from the Into the Spider-Verse movie. So of course I have Prowler here as well. He just wouldn't fit in frame, but I am going to review all 4 of these figures in this one video. So buckle in, of course, and let's start off with the main event, Mr. Miles Morales. So starting off with Miles, he looks great in the packaging with his hoodies and his shorts, and he has got the Spider-Man uniform on underneath. What I do really like about this figure though is you get both the masked head and unmasked head option, as what's so important about these Spider-Man characters are the people behind the mask, so you can display on either or. And of course we get some Stiltman Build-A-Figure pieces. On the side we get Miles, on the back we get a nice graphic from that animated movie, as well as a write-up that reads, Miles Morales, a Brooklyn native just 13 years old, Miles Morales is a Spider-Man unlike any we've ever seen before. And then, as always, I'm only going to do this once, we have all the figures in this wave. You need to complete the Stiltman Build-A-Figure wave. So in this video, I'm going to be reviewing Miles Morales, Gwen Stacy, Peter B. Parker, and Prowler. And of course, you get all 6 figures in this wave. You can build Stiltman, but I'm reviewing all 4 in this one video. So buckle in and let's start off with Miles. The first thing I'm noticing about Miles is it is an all pinless body, which I really appreciate. Yeah, this looks really nice. The jackets are a separate layer. The head sculpt looks like it's just from the movie. This is going to look really nice. And even though the legs seem really skinny, he will stand up on his own, no problem at all, it seems. We have a Build-A-Figure piece for the Stiltman. I'm going to be collecting a few of these throughout the video. I'll put that to the side. He comes with a head, which I like. It's got the joint for the neck in the head, which we don't usually see from Marvel Legends. I'm sure that's going to improve the articulation quite a lot. And of course, we're getting some interchangeable hands. So he has 2 sets of hands. So let's zoom in, take a look. So there's a close look at Miles's head, and I do really like it. It does look very accurate to the animated film. But as you can see, on his forehead seems to be like a little blemish. It looks like he's got like a little black scratch on his forehead, and I really don't like it. I've been told it is there intentionally. It's a design choice. It's meant to be like a little wrinkle in his forehead to demonstrate a little bit of emotion maybe in the face, as he does look worried or concerned. But yeah, for me it just looks like a bit of scratch. I don't like it, but still, it's only a tiny little thing. I'm not complaining. Overall, head sculpt looks really nice. Now let's start looking at the rest of the body. So obviously these jackets are 2 separate plastic pieces, but since you don't get no interchangeable arms, you're going to be keeping these jackets on anyway, but it does give it a nice sense of depth and show some shadow on the figure when you've got them into some lights. But if you move them to the side, you can see that he has got his Spider-Man suit on, and as you can see, it is all sculpted very nicely. So they haven't like cheaped out anywhere, and I like the sort of logo is actually accurate now. We did get another one in the past, but it wasn't that accurate. This one looks really nice. Shorts as well, all sculpted. A bit of depth as well, because he's got really skinny legs, so you can see that the shorts will go over the knees, but it doesn't hinder articulation in any way. And I'll show off full articulation in a minute because it's pretty impressive. And moving down to the feet, he's got his Jordans on, no laces, no branding, but we know what they are. But yeah, the jacket's all nice and smooth. As I said, no interchangeable arms, but you still get a decent elbow. Not double, but it seems to go past 90 maybe, or at least 290, which I'm fine with. But yeah, overall very nice. And again, they've sculpted the actual Spider-Man costume on the legs as well, even though they seem very skinny. But again, it looks good. It looks good. You can see he's wearing shorts, his jackets. looking very nice. So let me zoom out a minute and we can just briefly go over articulation. So I've already said the elbows do go up to 90 at least. The shoulders will go up as well. Still double jointed on both knees. So that double joint is very nice. But what's really good about this figure is that the legs go out pretty far as well. He's still got the ankle pivot, but now we're getting a ball joint on the waist as well as an ab crunch. Think Lightning Collection style. So we're getting the ab crunch, but we still get the ball joint as well. So bit of wiggle room, bit of movement, so we can crowd chop. He can get him in some really nice flying poses, I'm sure. Yeah, this is going to be good, people. I think the ACBA community and fans of this film are going to really appreciate the type of poses you can get him in very quickly and easily. He's going to look very dynamic on the shelf. But let's show off his other accessories, as we do get a masked head and 2 sets of hands. So there's the masked head on and a set of fisted hands. And of course, it wouldn't be a Spider-Man character if we didn't get a set of swipping hands as well. I guess the only thing missing is a set of open palm hands for wall crawling and whatnot. But we do get a set of fisted and with swipping hands. But I want to show off the head because the head is very nice and unique for Marvel Legends. So usually we just get a head that pops in on the neck, not a problem. But both of these heads had an actual dumbbell joint in the head, so they actually plug in at the neck, rather than just popping the head on, which are really nice. That's the first time we're seeing that for Legends from my knowledge. But yeah, the head is really nice. And again, I thought I'd always have this figure on with the unmasked head, but now I've got this masked head on. It just looks really good. It's obviously he's wearing his Spider-Man outfit with his street clothes over the top of it, which I like. It's a nice look. It's unique as well, and I like figures that are going to stand out on the shelf. So there's that. So I guess the only thing now to do is compare him to the comic book Miles Morales. So here we have our straight up animated versus comic comparison. And at first I thought that this animated version was a bit smaller. It just felt smaller, but putting them next to each other, you can see they're the exact same size. It's just the dimensions of this figure to match the animated style makes it seem a little bit smaller, but it works very nicely in scale. Now, if you're thinking about head swapping, it's not going to work as the pegs are all different. So only a bit of customizing or adrenaline is going to make that work. And I do think the head is the right scale, maybe a little bit too small, but you could get it to work, I guess. But yeah, no head swapping due to the uniqueness of the heads, but it does fit in scale with the comic figures if you wanted to do some world crossing. After all, it is Into the Spider-Verse. But yeah, that's all for comparison for now. We'll do some more as we go through. But yeah, looking good. Next up, we have Peter B. Parker. And again, just like Miles, he's wearing his more casual attire with the rain jacket and joggers, but he's got the Spider-Man uniform on underneath. Some interchangeable hands, a cup, and of course the Stilt Man Build-A-Figure head. On the side, we're getting Peter B. Parker. And again, some more nice graphic designs from the movie on the back. And a write-up that reads, Peter B. Parker. Peter Parker mentors Miles Morales, an all-new Spider-Man, to understand the importance of power and responsibility. And you know the score, all the rest. Let's get him open. And first impression of this one, it honestly looks great. Again, looks like it's jumped straight out of the movie. So he, of course, comes with the head for the Stilt Man Build-A-Figure. Always like the idea of some kid buying this thinking this is an interchangeable head for him. But nope, it's not. It's for the Stilt Man. He does have a half-mast interchangeable head, though, as well as some interchangeable hand for the Spider-Man uniform. But, of course, as you can see, he's not in a Spider-Man uniform. He's in a raincoat, some joggers, mishmash shoes. But I guess that's what happens when you get pulled through the multiverse without any planning or preparation. I like how we get the cup from the scene in the movie where he's in the diner. But yeah, this one looks really, really good. So let's show off that really great head sculpt. So here we have our middle-aged Peter Parker, and again, this one looks great. So that obviously he's a very slim, sort of long face, but that matches the animation style. So I don't think you'll be able to use this as a Peter Parker head in your comic display. It is very unique for this particular source material, but yeah, looks really good. You can see there's sort of 5 o'clock shadow there with the big quiff, looking good. So he has the rain jacket, of course, which is a separate jacketed piece, and it is sort of a podgy Peter Parker, if you will. It's not really a slim Peter Parker. They've tried to give him a little bit of a podge, but the arms are the raincoat. We don't get interchangeable arms, so you're not going to be able to change or do anything with that. But if I did sort of peel the jacket off, and there is a Spider-Man logo on the back of this. They've sculpted it, it's just not painted. So maybe we'll get like a full length Peter Parker and Miles 2-pack in the future, who knows. The 2 hands we've got one long just sort of waving hand, I guess, and then the other hand is obviously massively open, so you can put in his sort of drinking cup accessory, which again, it's just a simple little accessory, but makes a difference for display. It won't even focus for me, but it is very, very nice all the same. And yeah, that's just a simple cup. Doubt you'll be able to get your other Legends to hold it, but he's got the perfect holding hand for it. So, and again, the double jointed elbows on the rain jacket means you can get him holding it all the way up to his face. Literally, you can put the straw in his face, no problem at all, while he waves at you and everything. So yeah, let's put that back down to the side for a second. Keep going down. You can see the joggers, and again, similar articulation to Miles by the looks of it. But if you go all the way down, you can see the mismatched shoes again, which is a very nice touch. So while we're here, let's just go over the articulation. So as I said, double jointed elbows, even on this big raincoat, and the shoulders go all the way up as well and out. Very nice. There is an ab crunch. No, not really. There's like a 2 ball joint. So you've got the ball joint at the waist and then again at the top of the diaphragm. So it does mean a nice sort of crunch forward. Not so much back because of the raincoat, but still nice. And then you get double jointed knees that are a little bit hard, but they seem to... Let's try that because it seems to be a little bit stiff for me, but let's try. Yep, there you go. So there's one. And there's, oh, this one's hard. This is going to snap for me on camera, isn't it? Okay, I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to heat that up. But you can see with this one, the double joint is very nice all the same. That one's just a little bit stiff. Moving down, there is a hidden swivel there at the bottom of the trousers, which is a nice touch. That's right, I'm in the UK, I say trousers. And yeah, there is an ankle pivot, of course, on both shoes. Both work pretty nicely as well. So overall, great articulation for this guy. Great looking, I'm not going to lie, very casual. It's going to match very nicely with our Miles. But let's take a closer look at the other head and accessories. So there we have the interchangeable head. Again, he looks a little bit ready for business in this one with the half mast on. And you can see now he's got his 2 fisted hands. But we do also get 2 swipping hands, of course, because that is the law. You can't be a Spider-Man character without swipping hands. And while we're zoomed in, I didn't mention, but the sculpted detail is on the Spider-Man suit. That's why I think we may get this again in the future, because you can pop out the arms, pop out the waist, and make a new figure entirely. So yeah, that's a future release, I'm sure. But yeah, very nice. Let's just put our arms down. Let's take a closer look at that head. And again, this time the facial expression is definitely different, a little bit more ready for business. And the mask is sort of sculpted over the head, so it does look like a separate piece. Looks good, not gonna lie, works very well. But do we have anything that will work as a full mask? Well, I've seen online that the 6-armed Spider-Man head does. So let's pop that off and try that on this guy. So it doesn't plug onto the actual peg. The peg is too small, so it's very wobbly, shall we say. So you can see the skin underneath. The colours ain't exactly perfect either, but the sculpt work and the overall design works. So maybe if you put some glue tack in there and pose him up the right way, if you really wanted to, you could get it to work, but it's not perfect, but it's probably the closest we've got. But as I said, it's very wobbly. You want to get some glue tack in there if you wanted this as your look for Peter B. Parker. But to be honest, I prefer the looks of the other heads. And for our animated to comic comparison, here we have Peter B. Parker compared to the retro Spider-Man, and then of course the Pizza Spider-Man body mold, but this is the Amazing Spider-Man, I believe, but still it's the same body mold. And as you can see, Peter B. Parker actually stands just a tiny bit taller than them both, but he's closer to size with the retro. So again, if you wanted to cross universes, I'm sure you can. These guys are definitely going to have a little corner on my multiverse, but yeah, overall looking good. And just a very quick look as we build out this crew. These two are starting to look very nice together, but they're missing someone else. Next up, let's take a look at this very sneaky 2-pack, because of course it is Gwen Stacy, but her accessory is a whole nother character with Spider-Ham. So this is essentially a 2-pack. And on one side we get Gwen Stacy, and on the other side we get Spider-Ham. And then on the back we get a write-up for Gwen Stacy that reads, "Intelligent and quick-witted, Gwen has a sharp sense of humour and is a natural leader." And then of course all the figures. But of course it doesn't mention that we're getting a Spider-Ham. He's a whole character himself. So let's get him open. So here we have Gwen and Peter Parker out of the box, and I do think that this is going to be the sleeper hit of the wave, not only because is it technically a 2-pack, but this Gwen Stacy can probably fit as a Gwen Stacy in your comic shelf as well. This one can sort of blur the lines between animated and comic, in my opinion. So I do think people who have missed out on Gwen Stacy just in general may try and backtrack and get the figure. Same with Peter Parker. This could be the Peter Parker in your comic shelf as well, and it would make sense. So yeah, this is going to be the sleeper hit of the wave. You heard it here first. She also comes with a Build-A-Figure piece for the Stilt Man, the body as well. So again, you're going to need her to complete Stilt Man, but I'll put him to the side. Let's take a look at these two. So let's zoom in, because I'll take a look at Peter Parker second, because let's look at Gwen herself. She comes with the interchangeable head on as well as the down hood. So we get the up hood and mask on. And again, it's not a Spider-Man figure or Spider-Woman figure without swipping hands. So let's zoom in and take a look at all this goodness. So first, taking a look at this Gwen Stacy head, and again, it is very accurate to the animated film. Looks really good. You can see there where she's had to shave her hair when Miles got his hand stuck to her hair. So it is unique for the animated show. So I do think this looks really, really nice. And again, you can get the down hood as well as a separate piece. So when you swap the heads, you can take both of these off. And then the rest of the figure looks very nice. It feels like a better quality compared to the previous version. So let's swap the heads and then we'll do a straight up comparison of Gwen Stacy. So here's the hooded head, and again, showing off a figure with a white character design against a white background. Probably not the best idea, but you get what's going on here. I like the bright pink as well, definitely brighter than the previous Gwen. And she has obviously a set of fisted hands that she's got on right now. And of course, a set of swipping hands. And again, apologise, white background, white figure, definitely doesn't work. But still, let me zoom out and let's do a straight up comparison to the previous Gwen Stacy. As I said, this one blurs the lines. You could have this in your comic display and no one would bat an eyelid. It is the same sort of concept and character design as Gwen in the comics. So if you can see straight away, there's a lot of similarities but also differences. It seems like the upper torso from the top bit and the bottom bit is reuse. Same with the arms, all looks very similar. This one's a bit more glossy compared to this one. The difference is the lower torso, and I'll talk about that, about the lower body, and I'll talk about that in a second. The hood on this one's a separate piece, of course, so it looks a bit weird when the hood falls off. But this one, the hood's glued on, and that sits very nicely. Looks a lot more natural compared to this. So I like that. Again, this one's glossy, this one's a little bit more matte. The difference is now on the legs. So let me move these arms and let's zoom in a second. So what's the first thing you notice? There's pins on the previous one and new pinless legs on this one. So again, so far all the figures in this wave have been pinless, which again just adds so much difference to just the overall look of the figures. And what's better is the articulation. So nice as well. It looks like, feels like better quality. The articulation's great and it's pinless. Now her ballet slippers are actually sculpted on, and again she's got some nice ankle pivot. So again, compare that to the previous. Just again, this new one, even though it's the animated series, animated film, definitely feels better. So yeah, I do think this new Gwen Stacy is going to work in your comic displays. If you wanted to, it's an upgrade to the previous one, I have to say it. Next up, we have Spider-Ham, who again is technically an accessory, but he is a whole separate character as well. So it's essentially only got one point of articulation, which is the head. The head is on a ball joint. There's the nose. The nose is a separate piece, but no articulation. I can just see a little gap there. But still, it works. For me, I'm just going to have him standing there as a little gimmick on the shelf anyway. Then you can give him a bit of expression with the head tilting and whatnot. So yeah, no complaints from me on this. This is just a nice little add-in to put on the shelf. Makes a difference, builds out the teams. And yeah, nice sculpted detail as well. Paintwork is pretty clean. You got the black Spider-Man logo with the blue. And again, he's got his little tail sculpted, little twirly tail. Ears are a nice touch. Again, no complaints from me on this one. And if I bring in the previous Spider-Ham as well, now this one does have a little bit more articulation, but I think I actually prefer the look of the Into the Spider-Verse version compared to this one. But this, we paid full price for this as a separate figure. This was just a pack-in, so you can make your own mind up, but it is significantly smaller than the previous comic one as well. So again, I do think this would work in a comic display, but if you want a little bit more posing, then I think the previous Spider-Ham is going to be your better bet. Here we have our straight up comic versus Into the Spider-Verse comparison. As you can see, the lines are blurred. You could definitely use these Into the Spider-Verse Gwen and Peter Porker in your comic displays. They seem like little upgrades in a way to me, but again, you can make your own mind up. And you'll notice as well, the newly sculpted legs on the Into the Spider-Verse Gwen makes her a little bit taller than the comic version. So yeah, you can pick your poison, but looking pretty good. And here we have our good guy crew all together, and they're looking very nice now they're all posed up. Definitely going to find these a little corner of my Spider-Man shelf, their own little Spider-Verse, if you will. Obviously, we're missing two of the other key characters of that core team, which is Nick Cage's Spider-Man Noir, and then Penny Parker and her Spider-Mech. Hasbro, make it easy for us. Put them in a little 2-pack so we can round out this team, and we can be happy and done with it, because so far, these are nice. But we do need some bad guys for our good guys to fight, and Hasbro have given us exactly that. And last but certainly not least, we're getting the only villain in this wave from the Into the Spider-Verse film, and it is the one that probably makes the most sense as he means the most to Miles within the film. It is, of course, his Uncle Aaron, aka Prowler. And there were some unique character designs for the villains in that film that I'm sure would make for some great figures. But the first one out the gate is Prowler, and I'm surprised we we didn't get a redecoed Spider-Man Noir to round out the team as well. I guess we'd be missing Penny Parker, but still, it's nice to get a villain. And of course, he comes with some Build-A-Figure pieces for Stiltman as well. So he's not one you can exactly skip. On the side, we're getting Prowler. On the back, some more graphic design for Prowler, as well as a write-up that reads, Marvel's Prowler. Equipped with an armoured suit and gadget-filled wrist gauntlets, Prowler pursues his enemies under the cover of darkness. And of course, figures in the wave. You know the score. Let's get him open. And here's Prowler out of the box, and no accessories for Prowler. Everything he was packed with is for the Stiltman Build-A-Figure, including the briefcase. So I'm going to save all that for my Stiltman review. Come back soon and I'll reveal what's in the briefcase. But right now, Prowler is looking very nice. So there's a bit of reuse here, but also a lot of new pieces as well. As again, he did have a unique character design with all this tech and gauntlets and these flashy boots and whatnot. But still a little bit of reuse too. But you'll also see pinless joints all over the place again. So Hasbro up in their game as always. So let's zoom in and take a closer look. So here we have a closer look at Prowler's mask, and I do really like this. As you can see the wrinkles from the mask to sort of show that there's a face under there. You can even see the nose sticking out a little bit. It would have been great to get an unmasked sort of Aaron head sculpt as well to sort of show Miles' uncle. But still, if we're only going to get one head, I guess the masked head makes much more sense. I like the silhouette as well of the cape, sort of gives like a crown if you will. And if you follow the cape all the way down, there are spikes there as well, as it does make some very nice silhouettes within the movie. And if I zoom out just a little bit as well, you can see that the cape does plug in at the back right there. So it plugs in, but you can take the cape off if you wanted to. You just got to pop off the head. So I might do that in a minute. See the Prowler logo there on the chest, and I also want to show off these arms. So these arms are newly sculpted gauntlets, which are very nice as well. I like the colours on there as well. Sort of gold on the knuckles, and you've got the metal, and then the little pink, because they do glow a lot of pink in the film, which I like. Same on this one as well. No interchangeable hands, so the arms are like sort of open a little, but the hands are sort of like open, as he uses them as claws and stuff to climb weapons and that. So that makes sense. Again, on the belt, like a utility belt for the gadgets, I'm sure. And then moving down to the boots, again, nicely sculpted trousers, and no pins as well. And then these boots are these high-tech sort of gimmicky boots with the pink on there as well. Nice touch. And again, decent range. Look at that. Decent range and ankle pivot, I'm sure. So let me take this cape off and we'll check out the rest of the articulation, because the cape is nice, makes a nice silhouette, but it's definitely going to hinder the articulation a little bit, or maybe not, but we shall see. So for the demonstration of articulation, I've took the cape off, but as I said, the cape's a soft sort of plastic, so it won't hinder it too much. And when the cape's on, you don't notice how different the purple of the mask is compared to the rest of the body. Makes it blend in a little bit better, matches the inside of the cape, but still works nice. For the demonstration of articulation, it's fine. So double jointed knees, I've already showed you, pinless, and the creases at the bottom of the trousers are going to limit it, but it's fine. There's a swivel at the top of the boot, very nicely hidden as well, and then great ankle pivot and whatnot. Legs go out that far. There is a swivel at the top of the thigh. The upper torso is all reused from the previous Prowler, so we get a swivel at the waist rather than a ball joint like we did with some of the other figures, but it can get hidden with the belt, which is nice. There is a sort of ab crunch, but more back than forward, unfortunately. Arms go out that much. There is a swivel at the top of the bicep, and then double jointed elbows, of course, but the gauntlet pieces are going to limit it a little bit, but it's still fine. You can still get this guy in some very nice poses, I'm sure, for your display. But yeah, definitely looks better with the cape on, because it just makes for a very nice silhouette. And for our comic versus Into the Spider-Verse comparison, here we have our comic Prowler. And as you can see, this guy's a lot more green, but still heavily purple as well. But I do prefer the look of this one than I do the Into the Spider-Verse version, even though you can see where the references and the inspiration is. Definitely seems like the same character, but from different places, which makes sense. This guy's got a bit more tech than this one, but still looks very nice. Friend or foe of Spider-Man, he can fit in your collection, as he is a bit of both within the comics. So yeah, nice comparison, nice figure, and nice to get at least one villain to go along with these Into the Spider-Verse characters. And finally, to finish off, here we have all of the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse figures, and they are great. No doubts about it. All pinless, looking really, really nice, very accurate to the source material. I think fans of this movie are going to be very happy to get these in figure form. For me, this wave, the main attraction was all about the Stiltman and the Hand Ninjas and Frogman, and adding new, unique characters to my comic display. However, I'm not mad that I had to buy these to get Stiltman. These are going to have their own little section on my display. away. And I do love that film. I just didn't walk away thinking I needed figures from it. But no doubt about it, these are very accurate figures that look great. And at a quick glance, you know straight away where they have come from. So I wouldn't be surprised if Hasbro do give us more characters. As I said, very easily can give us a Spider-Man Noir. Then we can get a 2-pack of maybe the Mech and Penny Parker. There's more villains. Who knows what Hasbro have in store. But I don't think anyone would be mad about it. Would I buy more? Maybe. We'd have to see who they release, but the character designs are very unique to the Into the Spider-Verse films. But anyway, I've been rambling on long enough. There is my quick thoughts and reviews of these characters. You let me know what you think in the comments below. That's always much more important than my ramblings, trust me. So let me know what you think of these figures in the comments below. Do you like them? Do you want to see more Into the Spider-Verse figures? I guess is my question for this video. What characters would you want to see? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, people, if you want to support the channel and help it grow, then there's one way to do that. Please, please, please hit that subscribe button. Much appreciated. If you are in a position to support the channel, you can do that on Patreon. Links in the description below. But until then, people, my name is Dan W. Follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who and on Twitter at Dan Who Reviews. And I will, of course, see you on the next one.